Welcome back to Talking Solutions. I'm your host, Terry Springs. I mentioned at the start of the show that I was diagnosed with MS back in 1989. And I always said that being on the radio, I would do everything I could as a communicator to spread the knowledge about what MS is. So I got Angela VanBrackle in here. She's with our local MS Society. This is a mouthful of a title, Community Development Manager for the National MS Society here in Nevada. Trying to shine a light on what MS is and some great fundraising events, including next Saturday's return of Bike MS. Go to bicycle 30 and 50-mile routes out through Red Rock Canyon. Plus, we'll tell you about Dinner of Champions. But right now, more of our talk about multiple sclerosis.
There's a few aquatics classes or adaptive water aerobics classes that are great because they're in a pool. It's cooler. You're still getting the activity. It's less strain on your body. You're still working your muscles, but it's not as tiring as maybe being in a gym where it's hot and sweaty and all of that. So it's that opportunity to still be able to move a little bit, especially with some of the leg concerns. You can still move your legs a little bit better than you could if you were trying to walk on a treadmill, and you're still getting a little bit of exercise. There's options there. And as you mentioned with physical therapy, that's really a great way to help restore some of that lost function. And they've made some great advances on just safety mechanisms, whether it's a harness, so when you're trying to walk, you're not have that fear of falling while you're in physical therapy, and really looking at the neurological component with physical therapy and kind of retraining the brain and not just working on the muscles, because it's a combination of everything. It's nice to see some of those advances really come into play. And
I've been in the UNLV physical therapy harness. That was fun. Love them. I got emotional after we finished. We were getting together every Thursday for 6 weeks in the afternoon. And at the end, I had such gratitude that you could tell the emotion was in my voice, because I said, "You've taught me life lessons. Mm-hmm. You've taught me that I have the ability to do more than I thought I could do." And that's exciting, because when you have MS, all you see is things that you can't do anymore. Mm-hmm. I look at different jobs that people do, and 20, 30 years ago, I might have said, yeah, I could do that. There's a lot of stuff that when you have MS, you're not able to do. You're not able to do the jobs that require a lot of walking and standing. Even if you can today, doesn't mean you can tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It's very unpredictable. And there are a lot of different things that pop up. Like we said, MS is an unpredictable disease. Had the partial blindness in the left eye. There's stuff that comes on and off. A friend of mine refers to it as a light switch. On, off, on, off, on, off. Things do come and go. There are several different types of MS. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you're bigger on the stats and the percentages, but I would think more people are diagnosed as relapsing, remitting MS than any other.
Yes, the primary diagnosis is relapse remitting. That at times will, later in your lifespan, will transition over to secondary progressive.
Mm-hmm, I know that one.
Mm-hmm. The relapse remitting is kind of going along. You have an exacerbation or a flare-up, and then you come back pretty close to where you were before, if not there. And so it's just kind of like those spikes. The secondary progressive is just that recovery from relapse remitting starts to lessen. You're not as back to your full functioning as you were. We have a small percentage where it's a primary progressive. So from the onset, it just continues to progress. And there's really not that recovery component to it. We really don't have medications for the primary progressive. That's the one I think they really have the least amount of information on. So that's really been the primary focus in research right now, is just trying to get a better understanding for that and different resources and ways to help those that are living with primary progressive.
That's the one that breaks my heart, because I know a wonderful person who has, as we call it, chronic progressive. When I went to Washington for the MS Society years ago, I didn't really feel like I was going for me, because they were starting to come on with drugs. At that point, they had the ABCs. The A is Avonex, which I take every week. The B is Beta-Seron, which is every other day. C is Copaxone, which is a short needle and pinch the fat, and that's daily. I know since then we've added Rebif and a whole shelf full of drugs. Because you said how many now?
14 right now.
Wow.
And everything from a pill form to an infusion to an injection. People always ask, and it's really a conversation you need to have with your doctor, looking at the side effects, looking at really what benefits you with your schedule and what your symptoms are. But thankfully, there are choices for people now, and there's some options for them.
That's good to know. This is how long I've been diagnosed. The only choices they had when they gave me the news in Scottsdale back in '89, they said, if you have an exacerbation, if it gets bad, we can either use steroids or chemotherapy. That was it. They didn't have any MS drugs on the market at that point in time.
Steroids are still used for some exacerbations. It's so interesting when you really look at the progression of it and just how much we've learned. And we discuss this at all of our fundraising events, that really those efforts that people are making to raise awareness, to do the fundraising, has helped us get from the ABCs to 14 medications to a better understanding, to being able to look at primary progressive or the wellness component. And this year, the MS Society is really focusing on the wellness aspect, the nutrition and MS component. First time here in Las Vegas, we had a class in March for nutrition and MS, and there's not one diet plan they recommend, but it's really eating healthy. And this course was teaching people, be prepared, like have your power pantry and what can you do ahead of time so that you're not spending a couple hours in the kitchen. Even people that don't have MS don't want to spend a few hours in the kitchen every night. Really, the shortcuts you can take to still be eating healthy, but not exhaust yourself trying to prepare your meals. And this fall, we're bringing in some new programs, a fitness clinic and Beyond Diagnosis and Everyday Matters, trying to make it the whole component. And it's not just a medication and a disease. And how can you take care of your body, and really encouraging that piece. You said it's important to use muscles. The other muscle we often forget about is our brain. We're looking at bringing in a cognition and memory focus class, because that's another one. You really have to use it a lot, and you have to keep it strengthened and trained. And
that would be an MS issue, I can tell you from my own situation.
Post-it notes become your best friend.
I call it bad brain days. Every now and then you have a bad brain day, and cognitive is an issue. I didn't realize that the MS Society here in town had those programs. Even though I'm up and functioning and happy and think I know a lot about the disease that I've dealt with for more than 25 years now, which is crazy. All of these topics that you're mentioning, nutrition, I am just completing my nutrition degree. I'm so proud of that. I want to help people in so many ways. It wasn't specifically for MS, but I do believe that my struggle or battle, whatever you want to call it, my issue with multiple sclerosis is the reason why I have such an extreme interest in nutrition. Makes sense.
Even when you're talking to people that don't have MS, if you eat healthy, you feel better, your energy's a little bit better. But if you're eating fried food and takeout and junk food all the time, you're tired, you have less energy. So we really focus on figure out what works for you. Some people more plant-based, some people it's meat. What works for you? Just make sure it's healthy. Make sure you're getting the nutrients your body needs. A lot of the doctors in this area that people have met with are really promoting the overall wellness component and the fitness and the nutrition. That makes us happy at the MS Society as well, because it's a unified message saying that it's your body and your health, and it's not just one issue. Really, the more you take care of yourself, the better off you are. I always tell people, make a diary, and it seems silly, but that's the best way to track your symptoms, you know, your good days, your bad days, everything in between days. And then, like you said, when you have bad brain days, what if that's one of the days you're meeting with your neurologist and you had a list of questions and now you don't remember them? I always suggest to people, write down your questions, write down your concerns, so that when you walk in there, if nothing else, you can hand them that piece of paper and they can help you better navigate your life with MS and make sure that you're doing what's best for you, and ask the right questions. It's your health, and if you don't, there's not a lot of people out there that are going to step in and make sure that you're getting the care you need.
Today on Talking Solutions, we are talking specifically about multiple sclerosis, something that's very, I won't say near and dear to my heart. I have MS. People who know me know that I've got MS. So I have an extreme interest in it. But I also think, as a listener to the show today, you most likely know someone in your circle, family, your friends, your coworkers, your neighborhood, somebody around you. Chances are good they have MS. Might have it yourself, or there are a lot of other medical conditions that we have referred to during our discussion, talking about other situations where these same approaches for wellness and health and movement for Parkinson's. I know they've actually got a study going on right now at UNLV tracking movement and its effect on Parkinson's disease. I had Meryl Landers from the physical therapy department at UNLV in here a couple months back, and we were talking about that program, what they are looking to try to prove as far as how movement, activity helps to slow the progression of these diseases. Because when you are diagnosed with something like MS, I can tell you from the heart myself, it's a helpless feeling. There's a lot of stuff that I used to be able to do that MS has slowly stolen away. We don't want to lose those faculties, those abilities, but it's insidious. It just keeps stealing things away from you. So to move, to eat well, outside of any drug therapy that you get involved with, can be very helpful in managing MS every day.
Yes.
Your neurologist is your most important doctor when you have MS. Autoimmune disease, we were saying earlier that it's where your body turns in on itself. Somehow your body believes that myelin, which is the fatty substance that covers your nerves, believes myelin is an enemy agent and sets out to attack it. Problem is that also lessens your ability to have your nerves communicate, tell your body to do things. It's frustrating, but MS in itself is not fatal. There's a good point. I always like a positive.
Yes.
I do understand, though, in hearing about some people like, for instance, Annette Funicello, who everybody loved universally, complications from MS can end your life prematurely. So why not do everything you can? Be strong, be well-fed, healthy, best you can. I do find that neurologists, doctors in general these days, when they get someone who is newly diagnosed with MS, they want to try to get them on a drug therapy as quickly as they can so that they can slow the progression of that disease. It's important. Now you know my whole life story. And this is not about me. It is about a lot of people who have MS. What I want to know now is what can we do to help the National MS Society? I know, Angela, you are the one-person office with volunteer help.
Yes.
What can we do with Bike MS? I think that's your next event, isn't it?
It is. Bike MS, September 19th. A lot of the people I have talked to about this are very excited. We had Bike MS, and then it got put on hold. We were always looking for a way to bring it back, and this year we were very lucky that Interbike, which is a huge cycling convention that's here every fall, it's for the cycling industry, so it's where a lot of the shops and things like that go to learn all about the new bikes, wheels, gears. Then they also do a charity ride at the end of their week-long convention, and they've chosen to partner with the MS Society. So any cyclist who registers for the Bike MS and does the minimum $100 fundraising gets free admission to Customer Appreciation Day at Interbike.
I was seeing that. That's on Friday the 18th, Mandalay Bay.
Yep, it's at the Convention Center at Mandalay Bay, and that's actually where packet pickup will be held as well as race morning. Then Saturday, September 19th, we have a one-day 30-mile or 50-mile ride. So we are able to bring Bike MS back, maybe at a small level, and then look to really grow it a little bit more next year. And we are, again, very lucky. We have Interbike as a partner. We have some great sponsors. The start-finish is at the Rio parking lot, and the ride heads west towards Red Rock Canyon. Caesars Entertainment and Rio Hotel and Casino are a big sponsor. Nestle Beverage just came on as our water sponsor for the event. Land Rover Las Vegas donates the start-finish, truss, entertainment, and some of the tables and chairs. So we have really great partners in this community that come out and help, as well as volunteers. We have a website, bikemslasvegas.org, where volunteers and cyclists can both sign up. And we need everything from aid stations out on the route to help that morning with just handing out and entertaining cyclists, cheering them on. It's a great opportunity to really come together and see why we do what we do. And it's a great fundraising opportunity as well. And that money we can funnel back into the community. Every year we have our annual walk, and I love that one because it really gets the MS community out and together. And that has a 1 mile and 3 mile option. So you see people in all levels of their MS out there and socializing and being entertained and participating with that. Bike MS is just another aspect. And even people living with MS, they're like, I can't maybe set up tables and chairs. That's fine. I need people at the start-finish line to cheer on, maybe hand out snacks. So there's always opportunities. So don't ever feel that you can't. Even in the office, we're sending out information, we're making phone calls. So anything like that, it's always a help. So we have that, and then we have an event in October. It's constant, so any help is welcome, and I'll always take it.
This would be a busy time of the year for the MS Society. If you want to talk to Angela, 702-736-7272. That's 702-736-7272. I like this partnership that you're talking about with Interbike, this huge bicycling convention at Mandalay Bay. Ride your bike through beautiful Red Rock Canyon, which is the most beautiful place to ride your bike anyway.
Yeah, nice early morning 50-mile bike ride.
Oh, man. 30 or 50, and with Interbike being in town, if you do the minimum $100 in pledge and get yourself signed up, you can also go to Fridays at the Interbike convention at the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. That on Friday the 18th, Bike MS happening Saturday the 19th.
Next year, we may expand the distances. We're not sure whether it's going to be 1 day or 2 day. Part of that is really looking at the options. It's just nice to have it back. I know it was greatly missed in the cycling community.
Yes.
And I've had such a positive reaction to everyone in the cycling community that I've presented it to that it's back. And they're very excited for it. People already signed up and they're doing their fundraising, and it's just a great takeoff for it. Interbike, they approached us and we're like, absolutely. Let's do this.
Heck
let's
yeah,
bring it back.
Go.
And
if you want to get information or sign up, you can check with bikemslasvegas.com. It's bikemslasvegas.com. As we mentioned a few moments ago, we'll also put that information, links, and everything, including a podcast podcast of the show on our Talking Solutions Facebook page. I think the 30 and 50 mile routes through that beautiful area of Red Rock Canyon, that should be the route all the time. But that sounds like an irresistible place to go ride the bike.
It is. I wish I was a cyclist that could do 30 or 50 miles, but
me too.
I'll be there making sure you have a wonderful event instead of riding 50 miles.
I just want to see us raise a lot of money for what I consider to be a very great cause. That's not the only event that you've got on the horizon. I know you're also talking about Dinner of Champions is also a wonderful event, and I was proud to be part of one years ago. Tell me.
Dinner of Champions is also a fundraising event, but this one we really focus on the Las Vegas community. We honor a philanthropist in the community who really has done a lot for the MS Society, for charities in general. So this year, we're honoring Kirk Clausen. He's the Nevada president of Wells Fargo Bank. Wells Fargo has been a huge supporter of the MS Society with Walk, Bike in the past. To really honor them, I think, is a great component. They have a great team every year that goes out and does fundraising, participates in the walk. So we are actually hosting a cocktail-attired dinner at the Hard Rock Hotel on Friday, October 2nd. We have a silent auction as well. Everything from hotel stays and dinner. We have some dune buggy rentals. We have Bootleg Canyon zip line. We have Segway tours. So we have a little bit of everything. Clarisonic and L'Oreal are donating the face brushes and things like that for the auction. Just a little bit of everything. And then we have a cocktail hour from 5 to 6:30. It's kind of like a meet and greet. And then it's a sit-down dinner. We do a tribute. So people close to Kirk Clausen do a little bit of a tribute interview ahead of time. And we do that. Education on MS and why we're here for that day. Then we have someone that's living with MS share their story. We just had our event in Reno, and it was the 9th annual in Reno. So to me, it's just a beautiful event. News 3 is coming on as our media partner, so we have MCs from the evening from there. We've really just tried to bring the Las Vegas community out and raise awareness and do some fundraising there. It's a great night. Definitely a little bit more expensive than participating in bike. The best way for information is to give us a call at the office as far as ticket sales, table sponsorship. It's a really nice dress up, go out for the evening type of event and help raise money for a great cause.
You deserve an evening like that. Think about it. The Dinner of Champions is coming up at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Friday, October 2nd. What are you looking for that event? We want people to buy tickets. That's number one.
Yeah, people to just come to the event. We have businesses that will maybe purchase a table of 8 as kind of their sponsorship, and with that, then they get an ad in the evening program. We're also still looking for donations for our silent auction. We're looking for, we think, maybe a handful more volunteers for that day as well. Come attend if you can make it. It's a great event. It's always very touching between the tribute and the person that we're honoring, and hearing people share their story. It's a rare opportunity where you really get to hear people tell their story as to when their diagnosis happened and how it changed their life and how they're still living their best life. And just in conversation with you, Terry, it happens, and it's really what you take from that. And it's not an end all, and it's not saying, well, this is it, and great, I have this, and now what can I do just to make sure I have a great life? It's 2 completely different events. One's we have a cycling community, and then, this dinner, and we're really just trying to raise some money so we can bring even more programs to this area and do more research and help find a cure.
I want to do everything I can do to help. There's a lot going on. When I think about it with MS, yes, it's not the path you would choose in life. No one would. But we all have circumstances that we have to deal with. No one is immune to that. So it's how you deal with it. How do you take on the challenge? I know that when I was blessed to serve as a member of the board of directors for the MS Society in the 90s, almost 20 years ago, you got to be kidding. But my reason for going to Washington and talking with our lawmakers and learning from the FDA and the National Institutes of Health was to help people like the primary progressives, or as we also call them, the chronic progressive people with MS. They don't have any drugs they can take. My purpose of going to Capitol Hill to talk about MS was to see what I could do to raise awareness and get some attention focused on the people who did not even have drug treatments that they could take. Mm-hmm. Anytime that you look at your situation and you can stop thinking about you all the time, it's not all me, me, me. When you turn and you look at someone else and you find that they have a much worse situation, they have far greater challenges, I think it changes your outlook. So my interest with MS is certainly to be well educated on it, because I deal with it on a daily basis, but also to get the word out so that other people know, and to do what I can, whatever that might be, to help further the research to find treatments for those people who are so severely impacted as primary progressive people with MS, and people who also deal with pain. There are certain things you deal with MS, different symptoms. I've got 9 of the 10 that I was looking at on this list, but I am proud to tell anybody who wants to try to feel sorry for me, don't even bother. I don't have any pain. I know people with MS who have chronic pain. I don't have that. I consider myself blessed because I do have a friend who is primary progressive MS, not ambulatory, experiences pain all the time. That's the person that I want to help with MS.
I think some of the other focus with a lot of the events and even with some of the programs we're bringing in as well is for the caregivers and realizing that the family members and the friends that are there to lend a hand, to be supportive, they are the caregiver and the care partner for the people living with MS is to really acknowledge them as well and help them. You know, what resources can we give them so that they are better able to help their friend or family member living with MS? Because sometimes just as much as the person living with MS can sometimes feel very frustrated and alone, so can the care partner if they're trying to get them into a doctor's appointment or get them a resource and they're just hitting a lot of dead ends. So that's something as well the MS Society tries to offer some of that assistance in just different ways, different avenues. If you're looking for a new physical therapist, and we have a few that are in the area that we know have experience of working with people with MS, to chore service, to home health care. So there's so many opportunities and there's so much you're not always aware of. And when you get that diagnosis, you and your family are kind of like, okay, what's the next step? And we like to be able to say, okay, here's some information and let's educate all of you on this and really help as a family. We do a program on reducing the risk of falls called Free from Falls. And one of the things we invite a caregiver, family member to that. And we talk about, things in the house, whether it's a throw rug, electrical cords, maybe pushing chairs in, things like that maybe we don't think of every day that make it a riskier environment. Really being able to provide education and support to the entire family is a great aspect as well.
Falling is one of my main fears. I do understand that. And there are obstacles in any house, a throw rug. You have to concentrate to make sure that your foot actually gets up over the edge. And it sounds like the MS Society has a lot of interesting things to offer to anybody dealing with MS who's already been diagnosed. Angela VanBrackle is with us from the National MS Society today on Talking Solutions. And since we've got people listening to our talk today, what are some of the most common symptoms that may lead someone to think, gosh, maybe I need to check this. Maybe this could be MS.
We've talked about heat sensitivity and fatigue. Those are two of the more common ones. But in Las Vegas in the summer, it's more than like, oh, it's hot. It's an extreme heat sensitivity where you just can't be outside without feeling exhausted, without feeling that your body is overheating. There's a lot of great cooling devices out there for that. And the fatigue is that overwhelming, exhausted feeling. Not that I need a nap, but even the nap won't help, that you wake up tired. After you take a shower and get dressed, you want to take a nap because you're exhausted. A lot of people present with a change in vision or, as you did, a numbness or loss of feeling in either a specific limb or maybe a part of their body. I've had some people it presents maybe in the feet and then over the next couple of days starts to climb up the body through the legs. Those are some of the main ones. Sometimes it's a speech aspect where they have that kind of slurred. Some people may consider them drunk type of speech. Different things like that. Some people present just with severe headaches, but usually it's a numbness, tingling, loss of feeling, or like all of a sudden my arm doesn't want to work or my leg doesn't want to work. As you said, the extra concentration to get your foot up over the edge of a throw rug. So that's indicative of the foot drop, where your foot's just not listening to what your brain is trying to tell it to do.
It's got a mind of its own.
Some people present with what's called intention tremors. Sitting and having a conversation, they're fine, but if they have to maybe pick up a pen and sign their name, the more intentional of that action, their hand really starts to tremor. So it's a variety of different things, and I think that's kind of what makes it different, but it's usually something more on the severe end, where they wake up and they have no feeling, or they can't move, their leg isn't working, they can't see. That really gets them to the ER, much more so than I've just been tired. We're all busy people anymore in this day and age, so a lot of people just start to chalk tired up to that, or maybe it's a hotter summer than it was if it's a heat sensitivity issue, and it's not the same as myself walking outside going, oh, it's hot. It's just that overwhelming, can't breathe, and you need ice pack or something to help keep your body temperature down. So.
Let me give you a new dimension to the old heat sensitivity. Add hot flashes. That's
Someone else said that she was like, and she was like, so I have MS and I have menopause.
Fun.
Yes. So really, you know your body best. And I come from a background in health education, and I always tell people, I was like, it's your body, so you have to treat it properly, but you're also more aware of when something just doesn't feel right. And unfortunately, it may take a couple attempts to get someone else to believe you that something something doesn't feel right. But if you know that something is different, whether it's your leg isn't working as well, your vision is a little off, and they're not finding something, don't give up hope, because you're not the only one that's had that struggle with finding that diagnosis. But you know better than anyone else if something in your body isn't normal, it's not working right. You know that. And you have to be a little persistent sometimes and really, unfortunately, do several visits and maybe a couple of different opinions medically. But if you know something isn't right, then, really pursue that and make sure that you get some answers, because if not, it's time we're not treating something that maybe could be. And it may not be MS, maybe it could be something else. But if something doesn't feel right, then really go check
into it. Years ago, long before you were here in Las Vegas, Angela, several UNLV football coaches ago, the coach, I believe his name was Jeff Horton, very nice man. His wife, Terry, was watching a newscast. I think it was Kathy Ray, who was on News 13 at the time. She had come to visit me in studio. I was on the air, and then we did an interview, and we were talking about MS. And I saw her at a football event, and she said, I saw you on TV. And after I heard you talk about MS, I called my mom and I said, that's what I've got. It helped her hone in. Sounds like me. She was diagnosed with MS. There's a number of ways that we get the word out. We make people aware. Go after the diagnosis. I know in years past when people have been newly diagnosed or are having symptoms and need to get that diagnosis, the MS Society has been a good place to go to find names of neurologists who might be able to help, who are experienced with dealing with MS. And it's a place where you could get answers. It's a place for resources. You've been talking about some stuff this time that I've got to get in on. The National MS Society office is 702-736-7272. And Angela, let's run over your fundraisers and get people involved. I'm excited about Bike MS.
Yes, Bike MS is returning to Las Vegas on Saturday, September 19th. The ride itself will start at 7 a.m. There's a 30-mile or a 50-mile option, start and finish at the Rio parking lot. So we will provide breakfast, lunch, entertainment, as well as support along the course for you. And that is partnering with Interbike. So if you register and you do a minimum $100 fundraising, then you get free entry into Interbike Customer Appreciation Day on September 18th.
Big convention at Mandalay Bay.
Yes. The cycling community, I know they know about it because as soon as I mention the words Interbike, their eyes light up. And that one, obviously, with Rio, Caesars Entertainment, Land Rover Las Vegas, Nestle Beverage, we're really going to bring together a great event and bring Bike MS back. I'm excited. From the moment I started, I have been asked when it's coming back so that we get to bring that back. It really makes me happy, and I know it makes those in the cycling community happy.
And you're heading out toward Red Rock Canyon.
It's a nice, beautiful, scenic ride heading west in Las Vegas.
So that's coming up on Saturday, September 19th. And then, not far after, Dinner of Champions.
Friday, October 2nd, Dinner of Champions, where we honor Kirk Clausen, who is the Nevada president of Wells Fargo Bank. And our dinner chair is Paul Huther, who's the executive vice president of Go Wireless. And they are coming in as our main sponsor for that event as well. And that is a cocktail attire dinner gala. We have cocktail hour, we have silent auction, as well as a nice dinner tribute, and a little bit of education about MS. So it's another great event. Finally coming to Las Vegas. They have one in Reno. Fresno has one, as well as the LA area for our chapter. So we're really excited to bring it here. We think it'll be a huge success. If you want any information on tickets or sponsoring a table, please give me a call at the office and I can get all of that information together for you.
Two great events for you to get involved with. Angela, when I was diagnosed back in '89, was down in Scottsdale, and they're like, you're here in the heat. Chances are you're susceptible to the heat. You are where you are, right?
Yes.
I think the feeling originally was people with MS, there would be less of an incidence or a prevalence of multiple sclerosis in a desert area like Las Vegas in southern Nevada. But fact is, that's not where I started. This is where my home is. So there is MS here. There are undiagnosed cases of MS here. There are people who have MS in southern Nevada who have not yet reached out to contact a great resource, which is the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Really highly recommend that you get involved in whatever way. And the phone number to reach Angela VanBrackle is 702-736-7272. All the info, links, and everything on our Talking Solutions Facebook page. Is there anything we forgot to cover?
One of the other great resources is the MS Society has several support groups. What we do is actually offer training for support group leaders and then monthly calls, different education programs for them. So we have several in the community that meet either lunchtime to evening time to weekends. We have recently started one for people 40 and under that are living with MS. So there's a lot lot of great options as well for that component of support. But as far as resources, if it's a healthcare component you're looking for and you just don't know where to turn, you can Google neurologists in Las Vegas, but sometimes you just don't know what's going to pop up there, really what their history is. Feel free to give us a call. We try to keep a good database of service providers that have experience with MS. You can look to what we have, to what your insurance covers, and really kind of help there, as well as information. We have everything from bowel and bladder control to nutrition to exercise, different components to provide you and your family more information so we can, as we said before, help you live your best life and really get out there and still enjoy everything.
We can't make MS go away, but we can make it easier for you to deal with. That's all we can do right now, but we can also raise money.
Yes.
To find a cure. I'm all for that.
Yes.
Really informative. Angela VanBrackle, Community Development Manager for the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Thank you so much for coming in and spending time with us today on Talking
You're
Solutions.
welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Talking Solutions is a production of the Community Relations Department here at Beasley Media Group, Las Vegas. Get more information on today's topic on our Talking Solutions page on Facebook, where you will also find links and a podcast of today's show. Thanks for listening, and have a great week.